Hello and welcome. This is a tour of Freedom of the Seas on Royal Caribbean. This is looking out at the Salarium. I'm starting on the top of the ship, right on the track on the 12th floor. As you can see, there are many places to sunbathe out on the top deck. And to the right, I believe that is the private deck that is for the suite members and Pinnacle. You'll see these little casitas, they call them, and you can rent those out for the day. I'm not sure about pricing. I've never rented one out, but typically I don't see a lot of people renting these out in general. And this is just a view of the main pool deck here. And this is where they host events like the belly flop contest and water aerobics and things like that. There's also a bar up on this deck as well. This deck is where, if you want to do any running outdoors, you can obviously do that here on the track. It is quite crowded though on sea days, so if you want to get out and get a run in, usually I would recommend doing it earlier or going to the gym. I decided to start and end my tours basically on the top level of the ship, and I'm going to work my way around to the other side towards the end of the tour. So here is an overlook of the kids area where there's some smaller water slides and splash pad types of things, and this of course has a bunch of lifeguards and some fun looking things for the kids to get into. There are some other water slides on the ship, and I will show that towards the end of the tour. This is a really great spot for sunset, sunrise, getting a good view, pulling into the port. I usually like to go to one of the top floors to watch the ship pull away from the port. Up there in the top, you can see a bunch of windows on the top floor. That is the Viking Crown Lounge, and speaking of good views, that is a great spot. I'll show you that later on in the tour. So heading downstairs to the main pool deck, you're going to see the kids area, and then to the right, this is a bar and a Loco Fresh. A Loco Fresh is one of the included dining options, and it's kind of like a fast casual type of dining. And so like, if you know, you can tell, you just go over there after having a nice time at the pool with the kids. There's a lot of different seating in the shade and out in the sun, and usually on sea days the pool is pretty crazy, so I try to get there early and get a little bit of sun time in. And here is the Tide Trail store. I didn't really feature much of it because I don't really see a lot of people go there. I believe you can buy like masks and snorkels and things to use in the water and things like that, typically for when you go out into port. Not really like pool kind of stuff. And this is just some nice casual seating. On this side of the ship, this is the non-smoking side. And on the other side of the ship, you will find some spots for smoking. There are 2 spots for smoking, I believe, on the ship, and that is on the top deck here. And then there's another one on a lower walking track below. There's lots of comfy spots. I often see people sitting here reading or playing games with their families, and it's just a really nice place to lounge. Here's where you'll find the lifeguards and the towel station. The towels, I believe, are a $20 deposit, so technically they're free unless you don't bring your towel back. But you can always switch out your towel periodically whenever it gets wet for a fresh towel. And now you'll see the Lime and Coconut Bar. This is a pretty popular spot and they have some signature cocktails. There's usually some live music playing or DJ. Sometimes they have some events that you can look at from the bar. It's a really good spot. So now we're going into the Salarium, which is adults only pool deck. So you have to be 18 or older. And this is also a very popular spot. There's a lot of chairs in the shade. There's multiple hot tubs. There's a bar. There's a pool. Usually there's no music playing and it's just quiet and relaxing. So it's a really good spot to read a book. The Solarium is open air right in the middle. So it's kind of a cool little spot. There's a little swim up bar. You can't really tell here, but it's really nice secluded area. We are in port, so they had all the ropes around the pool and stuff like that. So now I'm going to take you out of the Solarium and we are going to explore the rest of this floor. So through the Solarium, we are on deck 11 and you will find the Vitality Spa and Gym. A nice little view here. And there are many different services that you could get at the Vitality Spa. But mainly I think people come in here for the fitness center. They hold little seminars in here like good feet and posture analysis and acupuncture, all that type of stuff. There's fitness classes that you can pay to attend. And then there are a ton of machines. I like to go for the TRX that's in the corner there that you just saw. And then there are so many treadmills, way more treadmills than people to occupy them. But it's nice to have the option. So there's a lot of aerobic equipment. Sea days, this is usually packed anytime from 9 to 12. There's one Smith machine and there are some dumbbells if you want to do some free weights, a few benches, and some rowing machines. There's a pull-up dip bar. There's no assisted pull-up dip bar though. So this is the gym. There are changing rooms and bathrooms in here as well. And now I'm going to take you into the main dining room. This is a really cool lookout. I've never sat at this table here, but look at the view. So there are 3 levels. I believe it's decks 5, 4, and 3. I have no idea how many tables there are in the main dining room, but you can imagine. Usually there's 2 set dining times, one around 5 to 5:30 and the other one is usually about 7:30 to 8. In between there is my time dining, and that's kind of where they just squeeze you in where they can get you. So this is really good for people who might want to enjoy specialty dining. Look at that view. This dining room is awesome, and let me tell you, the service is always great. The dining room, depending on the day, will have breakfast, lunch, and dinner as a sit down. Usually it's like a 3-course situation. You just sit down and order whatever you would like, and that is all included in your cruise fare. I really like the main dining room and the special attention of the waiter, but sometimes it's nice to pop up to the Windjammer or any of the other included casual dining spots to just serve yourself. Now leaving the dining room, you'll walk through on floor 3, went all the way down to the bottom. Cute little cruise map we got here. And you'll walk through and get to the art gallery. I've never bought any art from here, but I've been to some art auctions. They are quite exciting for anyone who might be interested in purchasing some art on their cruise. And through the gallery, you'll walk through to Focus. Focus is the photo gallery, photo shop. So there'll be photographers on the cruise and they'll just be taking your pictures and tie it to your stateroom. Then later on you can look at your pictures on the app, or you can go to Focus to view your photos. Now this is Studio B. Studio B is the ice rink, but also they host game shows here. They'll do the adult scavenger hunts and some other various events as well. Now, obviously they'll cover the ice up, but this is a really nice space for game shows, and they obviously have some really cool ice shows and some options to ice skate as well. We're going back up through the art gallery up to the 4th floor. All these stairwells are super pretty, and they're all really great spots for photos, and you'll see most nights the photographers will be blocking these stairwells in certain spots to get those nice photos. So now we're on the 4th floor, walking through. This is one side of Bolero's seating, and then I'll walk around to the other side of Bolero's. And Bolero's is a bar, and they usually have some live music. It's a Latin themed bar, so they'll have Latin music, and you see a little dance floor. This is a pretty happening spot, and usually Bolero's will go pretty late. Now I'll make my way into Playmakers Bar and Restaurant. Playmakers has some games that you can play, and those are just like typical bar games, but there's a lot of places that you can watch basically any game that you might want to watch, and there's a couple arcade games. You can buy things like wings and beer, but this is not included in your cruise fare, so this is a specialty dining option. And one way to get to Casino Royale, there are a couple, is through Playmakers. So this is the casino, and you'll see some table games. There are quite a few slot machines. And compared to some ships, this casino is kind of like spaced out in a nice way. Some of the casinos on Royal ships, I feel like they really just kind of cram as many slot machines as you can into one space, and it's very difficult to walk around. This casino felt very nice, didn't feel like it was too smoky, because you can smoke in this casino if you're playing the games, but this one didn't seem so bad. Making your way through the casino, you're going to get to the Schooner Bar. And the Schooner Bar is a very popular spot. It's got live piano music. Most nights, this is a spot where they'll have trivia during the day. There's a lot of really great signature cocktails, and it's a great spot to meet people. A lot of people come here after a show in the evening or before a show, because the Royal Theatre is literally just right outside the Schooner Bar. Inside the Royal Theatre, you can also grab a cocktail. There's pretty much a space to get a cocktail like anywhere you go, so that is kind of nice if you're somebody that has a drink package or the spur of the moment cocktailer. So this is the Royal Theatre, and it is quite large. So usually in the evenings there'll be main entertainment, so a headliner show. and there will be one show after the first session of dining, so usually like around 7 p.m., and then a second one around 9 p.m. after the second dining session. So heading out of the theater, kind of back around-ish to Schooner Bar, I'm going to show you Izumi, which is the Japanese specialty dining. And Izumi is a spot where you can get hibachi and sushi. I've never personally gone there, but I've heard that people have a good experience going there. For all the specialty dining, you can view a menu before you go. I believe it's a set price for most of the restaurants, but I'm not sure about Izumi. So now we're going into the Star Lounge area, and off to the side of the Star Lounge is the library and card room. This is just a spot where they have a couple computers that you can use and access your Voom package if you've bought the Wi-Fi. There's some nice spots for card games, a small collection of books, and they'll have a few board games that you can play as well. And now we're going into a nice casual event space known as the Star Lounge. There's a bar and plenty of seating and a dance floor. So they'll often have like dance classes and games and things like that going on in here. It's also just a great spot if nobody's in there to sit and have a quiet space and play some games or read a book or something. I feel like in general I just kind of scope out all the quiet spots on the cruise ship because you don't get a whole lot of quiet. I mean, when you're going on vacation, some people like to be really loud and have fun. Some people like to chill, you know, there's a happy in between. And most of the time there is no chill here on the promenade. It is all fun all the time. This is Sarrentos here. Sarrentos is included in your cruise fare and you can get pizza pretty much any time of the day. They'll also have some parties here in the promenade on that bridge that you just saw. Oftentimes the crew will stand on top of the bridge and do a performance for like 70s night or 80s night or whatever it is. And this is Bull and Bear Irish Pub. Usually they'll have an acoustic guitars playing in there and it's pretty good vibes. Casino Royale has a non-smoking floor, and right below that, which I didn't show, is another entrance into Casino Royale. You just take a stairwell down, but the non-smoking side is quite nice and very clean. Good place to get a drink. And Promenade is mostly just places for all the typical shops that you would see on a Royal Caribbean cruise. All the typical restaurants. Up on the right, there's Cafe Promenade. There's some stores on the left. We've got Next Cruise, Market, Shore Excursions, all the typical stuff that you would expect to see. This is a lovely spot for pictures as well, and oftentimes photographers will be set up right here in between these arches. To the left was Voom, and now we have our bar on the right. To the far left, which is not pictured right now, but that's where customer service is. This is an absolutely stunning promenade. I love to go up on the top floor and look down, or the bottom floor and look all the way up. It is stunning views all around. I mean, just look at that. It's so pretty. Now all the elevators will have some maps inside so you know which floor you're going to. Typically, I just stick to the stairs because the elevators are super crowded, but you know what? When you need to blast up to the 12th deck, this is the way to go. So now we're on the other side of the ship. Remember, I started on the top deck before. So we're on floor 12, and we are at Adventure Ocean. I mean, look how cool this is. If I was a kid, I would so be into this. And guess what? I'm not a kid and I'm still into it. I really like all the colors and it feels very inviting, very exciting, and I think the kids are ready to have a great time here. The way they've got it set up here is by different age groups. So in front of all of the different spots, they'll show you which age group is for which room. I believe they'll have sign-ups on the first day, and oh, yep, and then there's the arcade. I see tons of kids in there all the time. Super fun. But I believe they have sign-ups on the first day and very flexible hours and things like that. I've heard lots of very positive things from parents and kids alike about their positive experiences in Adventure Ocean. I think it's really nice to have these clear glass windows so you can look through and see what's going on with your kids. And they just continue this super fun design all around the rest of the area. And I think there's a little, yeah, they call it the arena for some activities. Who doesn't love a good activity? And right today outside of Adventure Ocean, which I don't know who planned this, but it was obviously a genius because they put Johnny Rockets right outside the kids area. And as everybody knows, Johnny Rockets has the best place for a milkshake. So you can come here and you can eat, but it is not included in your cruise fare, so this is a specialty dining option. But if you didn't know this, if you are, I think, Diamond Plus, and Pinnacle, you know, whenever you start receiving your complimentary drinks on the cruise, you can use one of those drinks for a milkshake at Johnny Rockets. Thank me later. And now we'll just continue on this deck. Beautiful panoramic views leading right up to some exciting stuff here. So here is where you can sit and watch people do the flow rider, or you could join in yourself. There's plenty of seating, and they're seating in the shade, so that's really nice because this is out on the top deck. And views of those awesome water slides in the background. The flow rider is super fun. Let me know in the comments if you've done the flow rider and how it went. I did it a couple times, and you know what? I feel like I could get the hang of it if I had just a few more tries. Now, continuing on this deck, you can see that there are a lot of chairs. So if you wake up in the morning and go out on the pool deck and there are absolutely no chairs, don't panic. There are chairs everywhere. You just have to know where to look. And this is kind of an interesting spot if you wanted to sunbathe. It's not like the most relaxing because there's a lot of things going on. Like the sports court is here. They'll often have like basketball games, soccer games, pickleball. I know I like pickleball, and they usually have it in the mornings, which is really nice. But look, there's so many chairs. You can sit and your kids can run up and down and do the slides, and you can just sit and enjoy a cocktail. Or if you're me, you're one of the adults that's kind of running their way up to the slides. Now, right behind the sports court, you can see these beautiful rock walls. And the rock walls, let me tell you, they're pretty challenging and they're super fun. So kids and adults alike, I see tackling these walls all the time. So that's kind of a pretty fun area outside. All those things are included in your cruise fare, so you don't have to worry about paying for water slides, the flow rider, or any of the rock wall experiences. You just have to look at the times of operation. Now I'm going upstairs, and if you remember, I was pointing out this area earlier. This is the Viking Crown Lounge area. They have Olive and Twist in the bar, and then to the left, which I didn't show super well, there's usually a DJ there. There's a small dance floor, so they'll often have the Red nightclub experience up here. And during the day, it's actually a really great spot for anyone who needs to send some emails or just do something kind of quiet. It's a really nice private spot. The views are super beautiful, and at sunset, this is a very popular spot to come and enjoy the view. So on this particular ship, on this side, there is the suite lounge. And unfortunately, I've not been lucky enough to go into the suite lounge, but hey, you can imagine. And bonus, I can get you into the crown lounge. So while I can't show you the suite lounge, I can show you the crown lounge. So crown lounge is the VIP area, and this, I believe, is for diamond and above. We are diamond plus, so I'm not really sure who all is allowed entrance, but they usually have coffee, tea, some snacks. In the evening, they'll have some appetizers, which are really nice. And there's a seating area outside, and it leads down to the flow rider and things like that. Alright, now we're going up another flight of stairs, and let me tell you, I feel like I am just showing you guys all the best places to get a good view, to get a good people watching spot on the ship. I mean, there are just so many options. But this is another really great spot, and I like to call it the Secret Sun Lounge. Like, I don't know if it has an actual name, but there are so many loungers up here, and it is a great spot for tanning. There aren't a ton of shadows, so if you're looking to get a nice tan, this might be a spot that you'll want to frequent. I think they've got some super cool showers. That's what that thing on the left is a shower. And then we have got the mini golf. And mini golf, you can just show up anytime, grab a ball, and grab a club and start playing. There's no fee, there's no sign up or anything. You just play whenever you feel like it. And of course, some beautiful panoramic views. And last but not least, the beloved Windjammer. Washy washy or no yummy yummy, you know what I mean? So this is the Windjammer. I quite like the setup that they have here with the chairs in the front, because behind that is Starbucks and a fully stocked bar, which is very cool. I like the casual seating there. And this is like a pretty standard Windjammer. There's plenty of seating, plenty of food options. And this is embarkation day, so if you know anything about the Windjammer, you know that it is the busiest on embarkation day. Everyone's trying to get in and get their lunch. And luckily, I am one of the first few people that's in the Windjammer today, so I can show you guys some great views. And just a quick note, the people who are working in the Windjammer are super accommodating. If you need anything, feel free to find someone in one of those white shirts and ask them for anything you might need. Whether it's a dietary restriction that you're trying to accommodate for yourself or someone else, or if there's something that you see or don't see that you want, feel free to ask them. You know, they're super nice and accommodating people, and I always have a really nice experience at the Windjammer. They have all your typical foods like hot dogs, hamburgers, chicken tenders, french fries, salad, some healthy vegan, vegetarian, all that kind of stuff. And the menu really just depends on the day. There's quite a few Coke freestyles up here, and I know a lot of people are really interested to know what locations those are, and I believe I saw one also on the Promenade. So usually there's one in the Promenade, and then there will be one in the Windjammer. As you can see, there's plenty of seating, and you know what, if there's not seating, you can always go out and enjoy the day and sit on the pool deck. So here I'm going to just show you briefly into Chop's Grill. This is the steakhouse. It's just right off the side of the Windjammer. This is specialty dining, so you will have to pay extra for that. The same goes for Giovani's. This is the Italian themed restaurant, and it's got a really nice ambiance, pretty cozy. I really like how they decorated, and you can see the chefs cooking off to the left. And Giovani's is where we're going to end the tour. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm going to be posting a few more walkthroughs just so you can see what kind of stuff you're getting into.